Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the program Islam Explained. We are joined by our theologian, Omer Atilla Ergi. Welcome to the program, Omer.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here, Baisa.
It's a pleasure having you here, Omer. Omer, I'd like to continue with our proof and existence of God in our second episode. In the last one, we spoke about the kalam, cosmological argument, and you said there were two components in which you spoke about temporal regress. I'd like to talk about the second component of the kalam, cosmological argument. Omer?
Maybe we should summarize the kalam cosmological argument first, Baisa. And when we look at it historically, we see that many theologians and philosophers have fashioned this argument. And the first component, as we talked about it before, was about temporal regress in the universe. In Islamic theology, we call it the huduth argument. The second component of the kalam cosmological argument is called the imkan delil, which means the imkan proof, or in English we use the term contingency argument. Basically, maybe one of the first people to put this forward was Ibn Sina, Avicenna, and he says that his argument is this about contingency argument. He says that everything that exists could either have a possible existence or a necessary existence. And when we analyze and study the universe, we see that, from subatomic particles all the way to giant galaxies, that everything in the universe has a contingent existence, which means that their existence is dependent on external factors, or their existence is only a possibility or a probability. And when we make this argument, then we realize that there needs to be a being whose existence is not just a possibility but a necessity. And that being, namely, we say God, that is the creator.
Okay. Now, if we could just, how everything is basically a possibility, but like whether we could have been possibly of existed or non-existed, but the concept of God being a necessity, can you just open that up a bit more?
That is a bit confusing, philosophically as well, but it makes sense when you think about, specific things in the universe, and if you analyze them and study them, we can even give an example from ourselves. As a human being, for example, I exist and I continue my existence because I'm dependent on external factors. Such as the atmosphere, for example, or the sun, which is 150 million kilometers away from the Earth. But if that wasn't there, I could not continue existing. I would die.
That's great.
There would be fatality. Or many other things we can include into this. All the elements around me, nature, everything, supports me so that I can exist. Which means that every substance or every matter in the universe is dependent on something else to continue its existence. The entire universe is like this as well, which is contingent. That's what we mean by contingent. It can either exist or not exist. So if the entire universe needs an external power, source, or force to exist, this factor, the external factor, cannot be contingent. It has to be necessity. Its existence has to be necessity, because if God was contingent as well, then we would be looking for another being whose existence is not contingent but a necessity, not a possibility, but a necessity. So this is what the imkan argument basically is.
Well, thank you, Omer, for explaining that to us.
Thank you, Asa.
And we'll see you next time, hopefully, and go through more of the arguments of the proof and existence of God.
Inshallah.
And I'd like to thank our viewers for tuning in with Islam Explained, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.